Listen to your heart when he's lurking around. Welcome to Something Feral, the podcast where three friends watch, eat, and talk trash. We're your hosts. I'm Kate.
I'm Brianna, and I did not touch the mic.
I'm Blaze, and you're a liar. You just did.
No, not this time. Not for the second round.
Okay. I'm Blaze, and I'm fine.
We're all fine. Everything's
fine.
It's not period week. I'm fine.
You know what? It is a tough time for all. And by that, I mean, I make it a tough time for all around me when I am in that position. Really, the week before is when I'm at my worst.
Yeah, same. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just depends on the week for me.
Yeah. Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's always
you never know what you're going to get.
Nope. I told Jeff earlier, I was like, I'm feeling nuts today. He's like, you're acting nuts. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, that's so funny because today Maverick was like, you are fired up about something. And I was like, I don't even know what it is. Like, honestly, I had like a decent day. Like, nothing was really off. I was just...
And Dale came up to me and was like, you just seem really tired today. Because I was like really loungy. And like when I was walking from the car to here, I got out of breath.
So we've all synced up to some degree.
I mean, we're all wearing black. We're in mourning for our bodies. Oh, I'm sorry, you're wearing brown.
Our failed cycles.
Think of it as the dirt that is burying us.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was goth.
Good thing it's a slow week at work.
Hoi, oi, oi.
Real quick, before we jump into your feral behavior, I do want to address for those that are watching, I have a mosquito bite right on my ankle bone where the hump it, you know what I mean? Like your little ankle bump.
Like, bump. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is driving me absolutely off a wall.
That is brutal.
So if you see me like doing something weird down here, it's because I'm itching my ankle.
No, we've all just had a really long week and, you know.
She got crabs. It's okay to say.
Yeah.
Just itching something. Oh, God.
Yikes.
Okay, keep going. Maybe we should just cut that whole thing.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Depends on how I feel.
I say that as if like I have any say. I'm like, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Blaze.
I ain't listening sometimes.
If you're listening out
there.
I'll send notes.
I can't read. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Okay, Leah Michelle.
All right. Do we want to jump in? Kate has a feral behavior for us today.
I do have a feral behavior from my childhood.
Am I in the story?
Yes, actually, in a way. And I need to know if you remember this because
okay.
It's something that is like in my mind forever. This is from 5th grade. And I need to know if like other kids in the class remember, like, because it's one of those like peak embarrassing moments for me. And I want to know if you recall.
Okay.
So in 5th grade, we had to like write stories and read them aloud to the class. And I was really proud of the story that I had written. It was a mystery, like a murder mystery, and it took place, I believe it was in a museum. I think it took place in a museum, and I felt good. Like I felt like I wrote like Murder on the Orient Express. You know what I mean? Yeah. I felt really confident about my story. I was so excited to read it to the class, and this is important because I also read this story. I was so proud of it, and I read this story to my mom before I read it to my class, and I asked her what I thought. And she really liked it and was very engaged. And I felt good about it. And she did too. And that was the feedback she gave me. So I went to class and read this story. It is important to know in the story, I don't remember any other characters' names. There was the man who like worked at the museum, who was the protagonist. And he had a cat. And this story is important because of what I named the cat.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's going where you think it's going. And I, went to class and they asked who wanted to read theirs first. And I read it either like between first and third, right? Like I was ready to go, read this story. And a majority of the feedback that I got was from people saying, I really liked the name of the cat. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm so clever. And at one point our teacher said, okay, everybody, that's enough about the name of the cat. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so clever. The teacher had to tell the people to calm down because it was so funny. I named this cat, I don't even like this word, so like whatever, but I named this cat Sir Pussy. And I got up in front of that classroom and read this, and like it is also important to know, like an element of this is at one point the protagonist gets knocked unconscious and he wakes up
to Sir Pussy on a
staring. Because he wakes up to Sir Pussy on his face. I read this with my whole chest to a room of like 10-year-olds. And I didn't know what that word meant, obviously. And I actually, I need to reach out to June because I need to know what her thoughts were. Like,
She had to know what this word meant. And
but like,
I don't know.
No, okay, but my thought process is like, if the kid is 4 and tells you a story with that character's name, you say like, okay, sweetie, like that's not like a word we really like to use, but like you gotta like let them go and forget about it. Like I was 10, like enough, like old enough for like older kids to know, you know what I mean? And like she let me like, again, she proofread it, so like she let me read this to her, and then knew I was gonna read it to the whole class. Like,
June, what the fuck?
yeah, and so I don't like. Did she not know? That feels crazy. Like, I mean, my mom doesn't like talk like that, but like, for God's sake, like you have to know, right?
Have you talked to June about this?
I don't know. No, I totally.
June, we need a rebuttal.
Yeah.
Did you know? Did you
know?
Did you set her up for this?
Honestly, I might have her like I was being just such a brat, and she's like,
You slammed
great
your door.
story. I'd slammed my door one too many times, and she said, you know what? Your class will love it.
She knew. She played the long game. She's like, one day she will have a platform.
Yeah.
And this will be funny.
And she was like, you know, as a parent, I imagine you only get so many moments when you're like, if your kid is being a brat, like you just kind of, I mean, like you don't have to take it, right? Like my parents were strict, but like there are just like long periods of kid brattiness, right? And like you probably like can't, like there's nothing you can really do.
No, sometimes you just got to get your shots in.
So I think this was like, it was either she didn't know or this was her one shot that she could get away clean. And I think
June,
maybe she took it. I don't know.
we have to know.
I have to, and if that was the case, like I have to respect it.
I would love that.
Have to respect
I really
it.
hope she knew.
I hope.
You know, I put her through a lot as a teen, so there is a part of me that's like, it would have been totally justified.
I do not remember this.
You don't remember?
I do not remember this. I also feel if I had to choose which camp I was sitting in, I also probably didn't know. Yeah.
We were like the
I
more
probably
of the
didn't.
sheltered kids. Like,
Correct.
you know, they're the kids with like older siblings who are like kind of older, who like always, like there was always those kids, and like that wasn't really us.
No. And we like had very conservative parents from a parenting perspective.
Yeah, they were strict.
Mine weren't, but I don't know if I would have known, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, 10.
But like we weren't watching like movies where that word was thrown around because we weren't allowed to, you know?
Oh, I was. Bring It On was like on often in our house.
Oh, I remember I
Coyote
wasn't
Ugly.
allowed to see Titanic.
Oh my
Remember?
gosh, yes, that was yes. We were not allowed to see Titanic when it came out. And everyone in the world literally saw that movie
Except for the
except
two of
us. But we discovered Celine through her anyway.
Yeah.
Or through the.
My mom
her through
said
the movie.
she thought it was too, not violent, but she was like, it's just too many
death.
people dying. Like, it's just too heavy for you.
I am
yeah.
so certain it was the sex scene for my parents. They would use like death as an excuse, but like
It was the nude painting.
I literally
Titties.
probably the car scene with the hand.
Oh.
Because like we watched Cops and America's Most Wanted every night at like a very young age, like way too young. So it wasn't the violence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
America's Most Wanted. Like I was never afraid of fictional things. I was afraid of like people
Saying "Sir
on
Pussy."
the FBI list. Yeah, on the FBI's Most Wanted list, and yeah, I wasn't afraid of that because I had no idea what was going on.
My question is, when did you discover that what you had done?
Oh,
like, when did
yeah.
the embarrassment kick in? When
It
did
was
it?
middle school, like the next year, and I
Oh,
remember
okay,
I kind of like
You
forgot.
found out what the word was?
Yeah, and then I remember being like, ooh.
Like,
But like you, I mean, I was also just kind of like, whatever. Like no one remembers, like in my mind, I was like, no one remembers like a story I read in middle school. Like, I don't know. Like it
no
didn't
one's thinking
bother
about
me.
Sir Pussy in middle school.
No.
Was it Sir Pussy? What-
Yes, sir. That was
Oh,
part of it.
okay.
It was, I was very clear that was like part of it.
It wasn't ma'am pussy.
It wasn't Ms.
Madam.
Madam. It should have been Madam. No. Honestly. Progressive of me. Very progressive of me.
Before this, I just want to, for the
Gender's a
listeners,
construct, said 10-year-old me.
before this story was told to us, now this is fresh for both Blaze and I, Kate came in and was like, let me know if it's not that funny. I cannot believe that you thought that this wasn't going to be funny.
Yeah, what the hell?
There's no way that this would be like not a... Come on.
It's just like such like a silly kid thing.
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
know. Yeah. I mean,
think it's pretty fucking funny.
I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it so much. You're having a great time over it.
No,
And she was there. She doesn't remember.
I think you didn't know. That's the only. Yeah.
yeah,
you couldn't have
either
known.
I wasn't there that day for whatever reason, or I also was in the camp of like thinking Sir Pussy was just like a happy cat.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was. If you went to 5th grade with me and you're listening and you remember what I did, I would be really curious to know.
Let us know if you remember Sir Pussy.
I mean, I never forgot Sir Pussy. Yeah, so that was a very feral of me, but unknowingly feral,
Incredible.
naively
You're
feral.
a child.
Yeah, oh, of course.
This is June's fault, if anyone's.
June was feral in this story.
She could have stopped this.
I really want a voice note from June.
Oh,
Just
she
waiting.
doesn't know how to use voice notes, but I can have her leave me a voicemail.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Kate. That was a really special story.
I needed that today.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad I could. You know, I'm glad I can contribute.
Really nailed that one.
Nailed Sir Pussy.
So now we're gonna move into trash and treasure, which I don't think we've done in a little while, but I got like obsessed with a certain topic, and I know
Hell yeah.
Kate has gone down this. You talked about this on the podcast a while ago, how you went down like a lot of religion rabbit holes.
I haven't gone down this rabbit hole fully yet. I've explored the surface.
Wait, this has to do with religion?
No, it doesn't.
No, those are just rabbit holes I go down.
Yeah,
Oh.
those are Kate's preferred holes.
Oh. Her and Sir Pussy,
Sir
their first
Pussy
holes.
and religion. Sir Pussy in the Mormon Church.
What a story.
What sounds like a band,
Yeah.
like the craziest band you've ever heard. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the topic that we're going to discuss for Trash and Treasure is the Oceangate Titan sub documentary that Netflix aired.
Crazy.
There's also I think it's either CBS or ABC that did like a less documentary, more like TV show style.
Okay, I've only seen the Netflix, but only like part of it.
Yeah, I would say like they both kind of cover the same topics. They just have different people.
I don't know who's like not heard of this, but maybe we should give a quick like
yes,
rundown.
and then
of what
I can do a rapid rundown if we'd like.
Oh yeah, let me grab the.
if it's
timer.
that long of a story, really.
Right.
I mean,
I'll talk about why the documentary is so cool.
No, you won't. Not yet. Okay, rapid rundown. What's the title of it? Oceangate.
It's called Titan, and it's the Netflix documentary.
Okay, and your time starts now.
So a couple years ago, there was a submarine that was going to the Titanic that was lost at sea. It was housing a bunch of like super, super rich people, including the CEO of the sub company. So the sub went missing. I'm sure everybody heard about it. There were memes. They thought they were running out of oxygen. Long story short, the sub was not ever going to be recoverable. You know, it had basically imploded. What the documentary really focuses on, it talks a lot about how that ended up happening, what mistakes were made, but it also talks a lot about the CEO, Rushton
Sinclair, is that right?
No, it's Stockton Rush.
Stockton Rush.
Stockton Rush, thank you.
Rustin Sinclair. Sorry. 15 seconds.
Oh, come on. It talks a lot about his ambitions, and like it's very similar
10
to
seconds.
other documentaries where it's like this was clearly something that could have been prevented.
Nice. Okay.
Thank you.
100%. It's actually enraging.
Could have been prevented. People were actively trying to prevent it. Yeah.
Quitting because they couldn't be around this
Ringing the
disaster.
alarm to everyone around that. Jarring.
Yeah, the documentary was really good. You get a lot of like people that worked at Oceangate and really, spilling the tea.
Oh yeah, and there's like congressional testimony too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they show that, and it reminded me a lot of, oh my God, what's her name from Theranos?
Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah, where you were taking a situation and you were trying to replicate the energy that like Silicon Valley companies have. Like he talks about Elon a lot. He talks about Bezos a lot. He talks about like these, Zuckerberg and all
I
that
would
stuff.
never, I'm confident I'd never have gotten on that fucking submarine.
No, never,
If there's
never.
one thing I know about myself, if that man said like in my hero Elon Musk, and I fired all of the
The staff that told me not
People-
to
I'd be like-
sink this thing.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And they use that like, work fast and break things. And same with Theranos, where it's like, this is not the type of thing you're putting people's lives at risk by not doing it correctly.
It's not like a thing that can malfunction and still be okay. Like if there's a
Correct.
malfunction, it blows up.
Well, and
immediately.
People die,
Yeah.
or like people get like misread blood diagnoses from like a bad blood reading. Like
Not even just that. It was like every test they
Dead.
ran showed that it wasn't going to work.
It was run by remote control, wasn't it? Like
Yes.
like a
Xbox
PlayStation
controller, PlayStation.
Yeah, yeah. And like the biggest flaw that they talk about, which is so nuts because you think, oh, it's got to be the fact that it's been run by a controller. It's that they decided that like what was going to be different and why this was so interesting is they make submersibles that can go down to the Titanic
Yeah, all the time.
all the time.
Yeah, James Cameron has been inside like all of them.
Right. And there are lots of submersibles that can get to that depth that the Titanic is at, or like other like aggressive depths. So like there was no innovation that was coming out of this, but what they were determined to do for whatever reason is use carbon fiber. He was convinced, Dr. Rush was like convinced that carbon fiber was going to work underwater, and like every single person that heard
Told
that
him it wouldn't.
it wouldn't. And the other thing that I thought was really interesting is the same thing with the shape. Like the submersibles like always are kind of this a specific shape because of the like fucking science.
Ocean like pressure underwater.
And so again, it felt what was so shitty about the whole thing to me was that there was no reason to be different. There was no actual innovation that was coming out of this.
Oh, I mean, it's just like fucking Tesla. I mean, he's just like Elon. If Elon's his like, you know, dream idol, it's like that wasn't like solely his idea.
Right.
Like you're not really an innovator. You're just doing enough to make it different so you can say you're an innovator.
Right. Well, and, like,
and
what
that's
the
what you
hell
care
does it
about.
matter? Because like it had already gone there multiple times and
Right.
made the trip. Like, why do you have to
It
change
was tourism. They wanted to make they wanted to make more money.
They wanted to make money. It's all about money because like, yeah, the other ones were like also made with like real scientists and like government like science programs who followed like laws.
Well,
and
they started off that way,
Right, and
they
then
just
that
kept
fell apart.
bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. And I mean, honestly, just go watch the documentary. I wasn't like on this topic when it was happening in real life. Obviously, you couldn't escape it when it was all over. It was all over social media. It was everywhere. But I didn't like really dive into it or do anything at that time. But I saw some clips about the sub itself when they found it. And it just captured me.
Oh.
It really just captured me. And it was a specific clip. I don't think it's actually even from this documentary, but they showed like one of the person's wallets.
yeah, they found like his pen. It was like the only thing
Yeah,
that
and,
like
like-
made it.
Like, how did it not implode?
It was like lodged somewhere specific, and it was like the only identifiable like thing that they could
There was
find.
a business card.
A business card, yeah. But whose was it? It was kind of poetic.
I don't remember, but either way, it is a really great documentary. I think Netflix did a really good job on this, and you get to hear a lot of really great perspectives, which I really enjoyed. So it's a treasure. Definitely go watch it. Again, I wasn't that interested in the topic before the documentary, but it was.
I was on TikTok when it was like happening. It's like day 4 of it missing. I'm like, in my head, I'm no scientist, but I'm like, that thing ain't missing.
It's
popped.
gone.
It popped.
Yeah.
And we're just skin sacks of skin and bone and water, and those people have exploded. And they did.
And they did.
Yeah. And like again, it's all about just like the money of it all, which is so gross. Like lives were needlessly lost because of this man's ego.
They wanted to make more money, and they didn't spend the money to make it safe.
Correct.
Which is insane to me.
Insane. And the fact that they in the documentary, this I remember when it got left outside in the winter for like months.
Months, yeah.
I thought when they were saying that, I thought they were going to say they left it out overnight, which would have been egregious enough. No, they left it outside in like the snow and like the freezing rain for months.
You can't leave a boat outside in the snow. It has to be winterized.
That is exactly what I said. I was like, you can't even leave a fucking boat outside.
Like a pontoon.
What?
Yeah.
The entire thing is just, it really is bonkers. But when you really hear the people that were working, and they have a lot of footage too, because like they hired a videographer to record a lot of it. So you're not just hearing from people and like seeing recreations. There's a lot of actual Oceangate footage, which is also nuts to me because I'm like, you're literally recording all your fuck ups.
Yeah, and not
Yeah.
doing anything about it.
Right.
And then
Like
you die.
bragging about it. He's like, and they say this like isn't going to work. Like, yeah, the scientists
Yeah.
who've tried it before.
I can't imagine not listening to them in a
No.
if you're going into a submersible.
Submarine. And
So dangerous.
it's a mirror. I was watching it, and like the first voyage they did with the one guy when they were in like the Caribbean or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, it is a miracle they came back to the surface.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And can we just also like leave the Titanic alone? Like, it is a mass grave at the bottom of the ocean. We've been there before. Let's
How many
just
times
leave it
do
alone.
we need to go?
It does seem also very, like to make it a tourism spot. Like, it's
Yeah,
just a
it's like-
little icky.
Like, people died horrible deaths. Like,
Yeah.
horrible deaths.
Okay, let's.
Anyway, and as did the people going. Well, actually, their death was pretty fast. And less
Supposedly it
terrible.
was instantaneous,
Of
but
course.
there is a part where they like Stockton Rush is being recorded saying to people like that are going to submersible, if you hear like pops and cracks and all these noises, like nothing to worry about. Like, don't worry, you're perfectly safe. And the reality was is those pops and cracks were what you would think is that they were pops and cracks in the carbon fiber
falling apart
and like expanding. And they were saying that like the data that they found in like the black box or whatever, they may not have known because Dr. Rush specifically said, don't worry about the sound, but it was probably making a
Crazy
lot
noises.
of noise. Yeah. Which is
It's so eerie.
so eerie. So long story short, watch the documentary and don't go to the Titanic.
Just leave it alone.
And don't get into a submersible with everyone that built it quit.
Yeah, if you have a chance to get in a submarine, like it should be one built by like the U.S. Navy, like, or I don't know who builds submarines. Not a group of billionaires who don't listen to rules.
Not people that think a PlayStation controller is a good way to use it.
If a man holding a PlayStation controller said, "I'm gonna be like Elon Musk, get in my submarine," the only way I'm getting in is if they throw my corpse into it or my unconscious body.
Or have a gun to your head.
No, I think I
Shoot
would
me.
fight. Yeah, I would fight or shoot
Fire
me
it.
because if it's dying in the submarine with Stockton Rush or getting shot in the head looking at the water, like I'll die fighting Stockton Rush with my bare hands.
You want to be dead first before being stuffed in
I'm not going in willingly
or alive.
or conscious. Like shit, if I'm like fighting him and I like bonk my head and they toss me in, that's still a more dignified way to go.
Yeah.
True. On that note,
Anyway.
what's next?
So we're going to jump into dumpster dive, and it is a extension of last week's dumpster dive / feral behavior, which is all of your lovely introductions to Frollo, as we've dubbed him. So we're going to continue on this journey with him, and Blaze is going to read some stories about his feelings towards chickens.
Yes, as we know, Frollo hates dogs, he hates people, he hates now chickens. And in the village, there was an ordinance.
It was a vote.
It was a vote to get chickens or to allow chickens
Yeah,
in people's
correct.
backyards in the village. Frollo did not like this because, Frollo likes his upscale neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah, God. Can you imagine how the property values react?
Oh, all those birds. Mm-mm.
No. So this is what Frollo had to say about the chickens. Again, my ex-neighbor from the village. His next door comments, okay, here we go. Frollo said, I vote no in capitals on the chickens. If you can't afford to purchase a few carton of eggs, you shouldn't be living in the village. We are an urban suburb and not rural or agricultural.
We know, Frollo.
Someone said, it's not about the money, Frollo.
Yeah, I mean, even I can recognize that.
He said, I see. I am sorry. Just when I wanted to see in my community, backyards filled with chickens and skunks. Skunks?
Why'd you have to bring skunks into it, Frollo?
Yeah, that's confusing.
What?
Would they eat the chicken food?
I have no idea.
Oh,
the
maybe like
seed?
skunks like to eat chicken eggs?
Are they chicken murderers? Is he worried?
I don't
about
know. Maybe they like bird seed. Like sometimes like rats and skunks will like get to bird seed if you don't clean it up.
Well, everything will get to birdseed if you don't clean it up.
it? Well, he
Right,
hates all
exactly.
animals.
But that's
so-
maybe that's what he thinks. I don't know.
But why skunks?
I don't know. He called out opossums the last time.
That's
He's
true.
he's
Critters
going
are
nuts.
on
all
the mind.
critters.
Yeah.
And there's some comments. It's a pretty long thread of other neighbors, chiming in and being like, blah, blah, blah. Other neighbors are like, I'm sorry that you feel that it's about money and that, people don't have money. It's just like a lot. And he goes, I think you are going to find zoning law and village ordinances hurdles to this endeavor, not to forget the community health department either. I cannot understand how a commercial agriculture type of setup would be allowed in an already developed residential area. I thought it wasn't that upscale the last time we spoke, Frollo.
Yeah.
Also, commercial agriculture.
Right. People just want like a couple chickens in like a crate in the back.
And I don't know if I'm pro chicken either, but at least I understand that they're not building like a Tyson plant. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. No one's processing chicken bodies
Yeah.
in their backyard in the
No.
village.
They just want some damn eggs, Frollo.
Yeah.
Just some
Jesus.
eggs.
And companionship.
No.
Oh, that really got me. I'm sorry. Oh man.
Companion
I'm sorry,
chickens?
Blaze.
Companion chicken?
Couldn't be me.
Okay. Well, there's some feedback from the other neighbors. I will not read. He goes, I mentioned commercial agriculture due to your mention of some other name. So what is the intent here? Fresh eggs aren't that exciting. Good luck trying to sell a home here with a barnyard operation in your neighbor's backyard.
Okay, honestly, fresh eggs aren't that exciting is so funny.
I know.
Like, that is such a good line. I hate to give credit to this asshole, but, like, that is so funny. What a good line. I agree.
We hate when he's funny.
It never happens. It's
This one he gets pretty sassy. So there's some more back and forth. He goes, would a cow be allowed under this ordinance change? I could receive fresh milk from my barnyard at no cost.
Oh my god.
Oh, here we go. He's being actually kind of funny on this one. So then he mentions the other village again. So he's like, the village next door wouldn't tolerate this for a minute, and we shouldn't either. And a new fad will come along, just like it always has. Reindeer, wild turkeys.
To be fair, we do have roaming wild turkeys.
God,
Oh, I bet he
in the
hates that.
village.
you know what? Honestly, so far he is making some points.
No, guys.
You're like, I agree.
Okay, think about how close together some of those houses
No,
are.
again, I don't think the chickens exist. Like, I don't think the chickens in the backyard are a good idea in this type of community. I will agree with that, right? Now,
Right.
I think there's obviously some properties that can manage it, but
These houses are too small. And
Like some parts of the village for sure, not a problem, but not the whole thing,
not
and
the
that's
whole thing.
important.
Right. So I will agree with him on that. But the points that he's making in rebuttal are just so funny.
He's making some. Again, some of them are so stupid and so wrong, but like he's like, this is just like a trend, and like it kind of is.
Wait, Blaze, did he have an anti-chicken sign in his yard?
I don't
No
remember.
signs. I don't think he ever had signs. Just he had one sign
Political
in his
sign.
garage, but it was never out. It was just in his empty, creepy garage.
Against the wall with nothing else.
Literally against his turquoise wall.
And his polished floor.
You know what's interesting,
Super
though?
slick, polished floor.
They allow chickens in the other village on the other side of the street.
Yeah, because Maverick had them. Two of his roommates had them. I was like, I'm so glad we weren't dating. Like, I just expect me to never go near or touch or think. Like, I'd be annoyed if you were like, hold on, babe, I gotta go like touch the chicken coop. Ugh.
So dirty.
All right, keep
I
going.
have one more about the chickens from Sir Frollo. He goes, I agree with blank and blank. And say this with the utmost respect to everyone here.
No, he doesn't.
The village is a more upscale urban suburb. I would recommend moving to the country or a more rural setup, and then you can have all the chickens, pigs, and goats that you want. Everyone's like, count me in! Woohoo!
It couldn't be me.
Yeah, so this is a funny one from Frollo. He's being kind of funny this time.
Yeah, he's on fire.
We still hate him.
Yeah, don't let this fool you. Like, he's still a
Oh, and he'll take a
monster.
turn next week.
Absolutely. A broken clock is right twice a day. Also, we talked about merch. I want upscale urban suburb merch.
You know what he looks like? He kind of looks like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. It's unfortunate because I love Bubbles.
That's so funny.
That's what he kind of looks like. If he was skeezier.
I love that
I
for
swear
him.
to you, I do not remember what he looks like. I didn't see him a lot. I just saw him kind of from afar lurking,
Doofy, blonde, big glasses, always like kind of face.
frowning. Yeah.
And that's it for Frollo this week on the chickens.
Satan bless him.
Again, he was making points. And I say this like no disrespect to farmers. Like that is hard, honest work. Yeah. And like yard chickens are just not for me.
I think, again, in the type of properties in the neighborhood.
Do your thing. If you have tons of space
You
and
have
open
acres and
space,
acres and acres.
go nuts. I'll buy those eggs. Like fresh eggs are exciting.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear him clucking next door.
No.
No, I don't want bird shit next door.
Because you know they're going to fly away.
And I just know some animal might just get in at some point. And then what if you have to hear a chicken die?
Oh, yeah. Or
Oh,
being
have you
murdered.
ever heard a bird die?
No.
It's rough.
Yeah, I bet it's terrible.
Yeah, it's not. It's a lot of noise.
I don't want to hear any creature
Well, you
be
love
slaughtered.
birds.
Especially my precious birds.
Yeah, in this neighborhood, there's a lot of wild dogs too. So you
Oh,
know
yeah.
those
Oh.
chickens.
So many
would get
feral
murdered.
dogs and
Not a
soon
good
to be
mix.
reindeer.
Yes, reindeer and goats. Yes, and skunks.
Goats.
And skunks, yeah. All right. Thank you, Frollo, for another wonderful, wonderful opinion.
Again, I hate to say it, he was really on fire that round.
Again, I don't disagree with what he says in this one. It's just the way he says it.
Obviously, that's his problem, right? I mean, and he wasn't obviously totally right. He was like, I'm sorry, you're too poor to go to the grocery store and get eggs. It's like, yeah, literally use your brain for a second. Like, wow, I have no money. Am I going to spend a couple bucks on eggs, or am I going to go buy building materials and lumber and birds? Like, what do you think is more expensive, you dummy?
Yeah, the neighbors literally, it's not about the money, you idiot.
Yeah.
It's about fresh eggs.
The overhead alone.
It has to be more expensive to have the chickens.
100%.
You have a high overhead. I think after a while. And
After a while.
Yeah, a while.
Because eggs weren't as expensive as they are now either.
Nope.
It would
this
take
was
years to break
2017.
even. Yeah.
Fuck you, Frollo.
Yeah, fuck you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our OC recap segment. We've got 2 episodes for you tonight. So episode 21 is where we're starting. This episode is called The Goodbye Girl. And again, these are not my synopses. This is wiki fandom. Let's dive into it. When Anna announces that she is leaving Newport to go back to her home in Pittsburgh, Seth feels guilt-ridden for the way he treated her and that she is leaving because of him. Meanwhile, trouble brews for both Caleb and Kirsten at the Newport group over their legal funds, and Sandy tries to help them out. Luke finds that his romance with Julie is getting harder to keep a secret. Teresa brings a lot of trouble for herself and Ryan from Chino when her fiancé, Eddie, shows up, not giving up on Teresa. That was a poorly written sentence, but not untrue.
All these recaps, the writing is crazy.
It's crazy. Wow. So we are going to kind of run through the episode pretty lightly. First, we're going to kind of change up our recap session. So we're going to run through the episode, and then at the end, we'll talk about our favorite moments and our big feelings about it. So the episode starts, obviously, with the love triangle that's happening with Marissa, Ryan, and Teresa. There's some awkward tension in the house, and we'll talk about that. We find out that Anna is leaving Newport.
Best day of our lives.
She's just
Huge.
decided it's not for her. She misses home and she wants to go back. With Sandy, he is trying to decide whether or not he wants to get in, because we talked about the court case last episode. He's deciding whether or not he wants to get involved, and Father Caleb makes it very clear to Sandy that, well, if you don't do this, like, Kirsten could be considered responsible. Like, she signs his paychecks. Like, she's complicit technically.
Signs the paychecks of like drunk Uncle McShawn or whatever they call
Who's
him.
been stumbling into hotel rooms, not by accident, for many years.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The permit guy.
We also get a little bit of Eddie being a creep in this episode.
Yeah, I did not like Eddie in these.
Yeah, Eddie is giving Oliver vibes in this episode.
Yeah.
Totally.
But like dumb.
Yeah, he's not taking the breakup from Teresa well. He's clearly just not happy about it. And he gets into an altercation with Ryan at school over it. In fact, he storms in and does this situation. And a big trail of this episode is that Teresa and Ryan are like giving it a shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, why?
And there is a lot of overarching story about like, well, what are they going to do? Like, how are they going to make this work? You know, she doesn't have a job. She's left her life. Like, she's basically run away.
Sandy said something interesting. He's like, "You're in high school, and like she should be.
be.
She needs to go home."
Back to school.
Yeah. So there's like a lot going on there. And then towards the end of the episode, we get to the point where we find out, well, all of this is happening with Father Caleb, that he's also been crowned, I don't know, given Man of the Year by some, local magazine.
Yeah, like what is it called?
Riviera.
Riviera magazine.
Yeah. So he's Man of the Year, and they're hosting the party at Kirsten and Sandy's house, because where the hell else would they host it?
Of course.
Crazy.
Right. So there's this big party, and everything sort of comes to a head at this party. Marissa has decided that, like, she's going to be really nice to Teresa, and that she's going to get her address and make sure that, like, Ryan is happy, I think is really her agenda here.
Which I kind of liked of her.
I mean, she did it for good reasons.
It was you know what? I was going to say it was the first selfless thing she's done in a while. I was like, no, it was selfish because she wants Ryan to like her.
Right. Yeah.
So never mind.
But she's still like, at least it was nice things that she was doing to get Ryan to like her.
True,
Right. Like, it
true.
could have been worse. And towards the end, we're at the party. Anna brings a note to Seth about like her before she leaves.
This made me so angry.
Seth has spent the whole episode just being so like butthurt about Anna leaving.
When Ryan had the note, right?
Yeah, somebody else got the note, and then it got wet.
It was
Ryan
in Ryan's
got
pocket because
pushed in the pool.
Eddie punched him and pushed him in
Yes,
the pool.
so Eddie shows up to this party and throws a temper tantrum, as these teenage boys tend to do in Newport. So yes, Ryan gets pushed into the pool, he gets wet.
Crazy that Eddie's also supposed to be a teen. That is a
Yeah.
grown-ass man. Another grown-ass man.
Another grown-ass man, which we will talk about for the next episode, which is kind of
boy.
funny.
Yeah.
So the party, kind of ends in ruins. Summer and Seth Summer's better than me. Like, she basically says to Seth, like, go to the airport, say goodbye to Anna, because this note kind of gives the impression that she's in love with Seth, and he just feels so bad about, everything that happened and da-da-da-da. So he rushes to the airport, and she's like, I love you as a friend. Ha-ha. Like, I just want to go home. Bye.
That was
And
amazing.
hopefully we are seeing the last of Anna at this point. My last note for this episode was, ugh, Anna.
Honestly, yes. And the airport goodbye scene is even more of an indicator as to why I don't think she's real. We can talk about it in a minute.
Yeah. So the episode ends, like, it definitely does not end in a like clear cut way. And it definitely extends into the next episode. But before we jump into episode 22, let's talk about our feelings for episode 21.
I want to talk about that stupid note getting wet. And and Seth, the entire episode is like, because Ryan's dealing with like the Teresa stuff, and Seth is like, oh my God, Anna's leaving. Oh my God, do you think it's because of me? Do you think it's because of me? Is it my fault? And everyone's like, you're so self-absorbed, blah, 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 blah. And like, Ryan's like sitting there with an ice pack after just being punched at a party in front of everyone. And even in this moment, Seth is still like, oh my God, my note, it's wet. I can barely read it. You weren't going to give this to me until now. And he's like, in this moment, Ryan's literally like,
Punched.
Been attacked.
and he's like, oh my God, Anna. And he's like, just take the fucking note, get out of here. Like, ugh. I hated Seth this episode.
Yeah,
He
this
was
was
a
a
real
tough
troll.
episode for him.
People around him are going through real problems, and he's just like, but Anna, is she mad at me? Oh my God.
Yeah, he's awful this
And
episode.
whining to Summer about this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I wrote, like, Summer is better than me. Like,
Me too.
she was very understanding about the situation.
Also, Seth has Anna's cell phone number. He could have just called her
Yeah, that's true.
at any point and been like, hey, the note got wet. I need you to tell me what it says. It would mean a lot to me. And she could answer.
The only good thing she's ever said in this show is like, I love you as a friend. Seth, I love you as a friend. That's all. And then she leaves.
Thank
Finally,
God.
they gave her like some dignity with her departure, I guess. But ugh.
Going back to Pittsburgh. I miss my dog.
Yeah. Anna.
Fuck you. Of course
Bon
you're a dog person.
voyage.
Worst
bitch.
dogs. I know she does.
So the thing that pissed me off more than that, though, was this Ryan and Teresa situation, because they are again acting like Teresa's like they're like, oh, she's a runaway. Like, she just said she took a semester off of school, so technically couldn't she go back to school?
I don't know if it works like that in high school, does it?
Fine, but then they're like, she's like looking for a job and like looking for a place to live. I'm like, the only reason she's in Newport is because she had a catering job. So what happened to that? And then two, she wasn't living with Eddie. She was doing it for her mom. Like, couldn't she go live with her mom?
Right. And then Sandy was like, don't ask her to live here. You know?
Right.
You know how well that happened. I'm
That
like,
was funny.
Yeah,
Sandy was on fire this episode too.
of course. Yeah, he was.
But I just was like, it was just really frustrating to me how they were acting like Teresa
has nowhere to go.
suddenly had nowhere to go.
Go home.
Yeah, just go home.
20 minutes
away.
20 minutes away.
you have a fiance and a mother who has
And
a
like,
home.
if you love each other, Ryan, Teresa, you can make it work.
Make the drive.
Go to
you can
Chino.
make the drive.
30-minute drive.
Seriously. Or she can just hang out here while she's here working.
Right. It felt, again, very forced. And I know we talked about this last week with Teresa, is that the storyline feels very like shoved in. And this is another example of that.
And one thing we forgot to mention is Jimmy clocks that
Oh, yeah.
Julie might be sleeping with Luke at the party. He's like,
Or at least something. I don't know if he thinks that
Yeah.
they're like, you know.
well, because he catches Luke at her house, and like they weren't doing anything weird, but Jimmy's like, what are you doing here? She's like, he's fixing my internet. He's like, oh.
The other thing that I really liked is, again, Sandy is a very good lawyer.
He knows what he's doing.
He made a deal, but like there's a scene with him and the DA on the golf course.
Oh, I loved what
Just
he
the
kept
way that
saying.
he's like talking to the DA, and like the way I was like,
He can't be intimidated.
you are good at your job, Sandy Cohen.
taking jabs, so confident.
Yeah.
he's like kept saying, he's like, oh, every time the DA would speak, he's like spoken like a guy who's never been married.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. Like, he's just so smooth.
He is smooth. Yeah. He's a good talker.
So I was appreciating Sandy Cohen this
Sandy
episode.
Cohen drops bars on the golf course. Anytime he's on a golf course, he's yelling at Jimmy Cooper, talking to the prosecutor. Is that who that
Yeah,
guy was? Yeah, like just absolutely making sense, being smooth. You love to see Sandy Cohen on that golf course.
Absolutely. Always gonna, if you see Sandy in some golf shorts,
What
you
is
know
it?
it's going good.
What is that you hated the men wear?
Oh, athletic wear.
No, but you called it a term. It was like moisture wicking. When you see Sandy Cohen,
never wears moisture wicking. Thank
Yes,
you very
he does.
much. No, he wears like real old school golf attire.
like real cotton.
Yeah, that man's wearing fabrics.
Oh, I don't know.
All natural.
Sandy might be buying those. He strikes me as someone who would see them like on sale and be like, honey, like the moisture wicking polos.
I don't know if Kirsten would let him get away with it.
That's true. Yeah, like he has them, but he wears them when she's out of town.
Yeah. I like that. Any other thoughts on episode 21 that you guys would like to share?
No, it was a dumb episode.
really-
Good
yeah.
riddance, Anna. And
Yeah.
oh, my thoughts about her not being real at the airport. So when he like runs to her at the airport. Now, I know this was a very small airport and like there weren't a ton of people catching this flight. but no one seems to be bothered by this guy just like bothering her. He's like yelling at her through security. She like stops and like leaves, and it's like a whole thing, and like not one eye roll.
This is post 9/11, like recently.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
just, there's no way. I don't care what airport it was.
If you're
like,
running, you're getting.
unless you're Seth Cohen's dropping the like, do you know who my grandpa is? Which I know that's how he got in that airport. I know it. But actually, he was probably never even in the airport because
it's all a dream.
Because yeah, in his head, like no one else exists. No one at the airport would be irritated by him crashing through security. He would be totally able to crash through security in a post 9/11 world because it didn't happen. It was all in his mind.
Yep, he never went inside. He dreamed it all.
Yeah, it's all in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, now that we're free of Anna, but never free of Lady Anna,
She's not allowed here
She
no
is
more.
always with us.
we're moving on to episode 22, which is, this is a dumb name, The LA.
I know. What?
They couldn't have done anything better.
Right.
So dumb.
It could have been the Valley.
Yeah.
They're usually on fire with the names.
Yeah, I also really like this sort of like wink nod to the fact, like, to,
Very meta. Yeah.
it's
like,
very meta. But they do it really well.
it's silly, but yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah. So when Marissa and Summer run into Grady Bridges, the star of Summer's favorite TV series, The Valley, he invites them and their friends to a party in Los Angeles. They accept and invite Ryan and Seth along. Seth and Ryan find out about Marissa's mom's affair with Luke and plan to keep Marissa from finding out, in which Ryan persuades Luke to break it off. At the party, Grady tries to keep Summer away from Seth, while Ryan and Marissa run into Haley, who is now working as a stripper.
At a place called Luna Chicks.
Yep. Back in Newport, Sandy and Jimmy approach Caleb to ask for his help to arrange a get-together for some of Newport Group's wealthy business elite to get funds to open their restaurant. This episode,
It was a good one.
it was a good one,
Problematic.
but like a lot of things happen in this episode. So,
They said consent, not familiar. Age of consent, not here.
nope.
Not on this show.
No one cared. No one cared a single bit at all.
Right. So what I did forget to mention is at the end of the last episode, episode 21, it ends with Ryan and Seth talking about how their life is now drama free and that they don't have anything to tackle. And then they see Julie and Luke at the hotel doing
At
doing
the
mouth
Mermaid
stuff.
Motel, and the song that they play, I loved. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe it's called Ride. I don't know. I'll have to post it on Spotify.
I actually made, and tell me if you want me to read this now or when you're done, but I made a list of consent issues in this episode alone.
We'll get there.
Okay.
So this episode starts from a business perspective now. As you guys may recall, Sandy and Jimmy are opening a restaurant. It's all very exciting.
Not to Jimmy.
No.
Not to Jimmy, no. And throughout the episode, Jimmy has some concerns and some annoying statements made. And they've realized and they come to the point that they are out of money with the restaurant and it still needs to be renovated and designed, essentially. And so Kirsten has the idea of giving the job to Julie, blah, 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 blah.
We'll do it for free. That's like her thing.
Yeah, and she says she's going to do it for free, but Jimmy's like, my piece! He gets really flustered about that. So they bring in Julie. And
Sorry. It was really fun.
My piece! They bring in Julie, and she offers to do it. Now, while that's occurring, Summer and Marissa run into the star of Summer's favorite show, The Valley. And like we said, he invites them to a party. And they've decided that they're all going to go together to LA. They ask their parents. Parents say yes, because why the fuck wouldn't they?
How far away is LA? Because Chino is apparently 37 years away.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. Don't worry. I'll
It's
do my
probably the same. 20
I'll do my
minutes.
research. Yeah. And they get there. It's a club. It's very much like a nightclub. I'll tell you this. If I was 17 walking into that room, I would have felt very uncomfortable.
It's a nightclub with strippers.
Yeah, there's
But it's
strippers,
not a strip
there's
club.
drugs.
People are doing blow left and right.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a safe place.
It's kind of like, and I don't know if either of you have been here, but it's kind of like 11 in Miami, except dumpier.
no, I've not been. That was not part of my life.
Well, for anyone that's ever been there, you would know.
So that's where this party is. And
Dumpy.
Ryan and Marissa, Ryan now knows about Julie and Luke. And so he's trying to protect her because Ryan and Teresa have broken up. Ryan and Teresa have decided that now they have been intimate
At the motel,
at the motel.
The mermaid.
the night before.
Everybody's getting down at the hotel. And she decides to go back to Eddie. Mostly, I believe, and how they sort of play it off is because she doesn't want to disrupt Ryan's life. Right?
Martyr.
So she's gone. just gone.
Yeah, that's why they were at the motel. They were going to look for her, right? Or say goodbye. Like Seth and Ryan, they were
Yeah,
there,
something like
and
that.
they realized she wasn't there, and then they turned around, and that's when they saw Luke and Miss Julie.
So Ryan is back into
I
his.
don't know why I said Miss Julie.
Oh, Ryan left his watch. That's what they were getting.
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's
Okay,
why
okay.
they went to the front desk instead of like to the room.
That's right. That's right.
Nice
that's
call.
right.
So Ryan is obviously needing a woman to protect. So he's back on.
Yeah, Seth.
Yeah, right. He's back to protecting Marissa's feelings. They go to LA, the party. Grady is obviously trying to hook up with Summer. He's showing her some stuff in the van. It's a whole thing. Seth is flirting with Paris Hilton in this episode. It's actually very funny.
Loved her in this.
She's very
makes
she's
a
awesome
great
in this.
cameo in this. Paris, if you're listening, chef's
Awesome
kiss.
work.
What did she say?
awesome
She
work.
was like, she said something. Oh, you're from Newport? Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, to
Summer's
Summer.
like, oh my god.
Yeah. And
it.
so while they're at the club and they end up seeing a stripper. Seth actually is encouraging Ryan to go see that stripper, and it turns out it's Haley. Haley obviously ran out of money. She's in a situation that they really give the impression that she's not in like a safe situation, that she's
Has a pimp.
she's doing a lot of coke.
Which is so wild though, because like she was doing all of that, but like also asking for money. Like all of a sudden her being like, I can't ask for money. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Well, she was cut off.
Oh, she was. Okay, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah. So while they're all in LA, now Julie and Kirsten have told Jimmy and Sandy, you know what, you guys should ask Father Caleb to front the money. And Father Caleb's like, rah, 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 rah.
Well, then Sandy starts whining. He's like, no, my piece.
Right, yeah, which,
Not his best moment.
They're going to
No.
put goulash on the menu.
right.
Sandy whining is not for me.
No. And so Father Caleb is having a dinner party already. So they're like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity. These are all like the, high and mighties of Newport. Maybe we can get them as investors, blah, 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 blah. There are some riffs and some arguments about all of that shit with the restaurant. I don't remember the details.
It's not.
I wasn't
important.
paying
It
attention.
doesn't matter. But when they find Haley at the strip club, I guess, they call Sandy. Obviously, Jimmy is there. And so Jimmy decides that he's also mad because like Caleb's trying to take over. So he storms out to go get Haley. Again, Haley's in like danger, I guess, in this situation. And Jimmy shows up. He actually has like a good moment. He shows up.
Being a good father for once. Well,
Yeah.
person, I guess.
Not
Parent.
father.
A fleeting moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So he does come. This whole time, Luke is supposed to be breaking up with Julie and just can't seem to get it together to break up with her. And when he finally does, the kids are home. Haley came home. Everybody's back in the Cohen household, right? And Luke comes busting into Ryan's room, which happens to have Marissa in it. And he says, I'm done having sex with Julie Cooper, while Marissa walks into the room. So the episode ends on a pretty like strong
Yeah.
whoa, with Marissa now being really fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Rightfully
One at Luke
so.
and two also at Ryan for not telling her.
Well, and he was kind of flailing about with that. I think in the beginning of the episode, they were playing pool at school, and he's like, hey, Luke, did you have sex with Julie Cooper today? And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, my God, anyone could have heard you.
Luke also did not know that
Yeah,
they
he didn't
had been
see them
caught.
see them
Right.
at the motel, the
Yeah.
Mermaid Motel.
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 Hotel.
Holiday Inn. Oh, boy.
Would you like my list of consent
Yes.
issues?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
start with the consent.
Mini list. It ain't right. Consent edition.
Okay. So the first one I have is Paris Hilton's character and Seth Cohen. He is a sophomore in high school, or a junior maybe. She says she's in grad school. So that's number one. Number two, Grady whatever in Summer. She is also a sophomore in high school. He is not. Julie and Luke for obvious reasons. Jimmy and Haley, and I say that because we don't know if she wanted to be rescued by him. Maybe she was having fun stripping. I mean, it looks like a rough night, to be
Seemed
clear.
like she wasn't, but
But we have no other context except Jimmy he's rescuing her. Like, I wonder if the audiences were just like, get this man off our screen, and they're like, okay, we have to make him do something redeemable.
something good.
And it was the early 2000s, so they're like, what's the worst thing a woman could be doing? Stripping. So yeah, that
Doing
was,
blow.
yeah, doing recreational drug. I mean, not that I'm advocating for anyone to like be doing cocaine all the time, but yeah, dancing on a stage was really the primary issue here.
And what's your last one?
I wrote one that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Okay.
So
Are you going to share it with us?
No, I don't know why I wrote Jimmy and Julie, but I don't know why.
Well, if our theory is correct, where he knocked her up as a teen, and he was
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah, once again, he pervert teenager. Like,
Right,
which is
reminder.
the constant theme is an adult and a teen. Again, Jimmy Cooper and Julie. Thank you for reminding me. So yeah, that's 5 instances. 5 in one episode.
wow.
I will say there was a very funny moment on the Valley, or like the actor that was on the Valley and something, and they're like, wow, how's that guy playing somebody in high school? And they're like, yeah, it was just kind of a funny note.
They got it.
Yeah, they got it. It was all the other little like jabs were very funny throughout
see
the
what
episode.
we see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just was like, Jimmy was on fire of being a menace this episode, and I'm a little disappointed in Sandy this episode.
Me too.
A lot of
He was so
whining.
excited about the restaurant. He just wasn't thinking clearly.
Well, he says to Jimmy Cooper, because Mr. Cooper, Jimmy. Jimmy is like, we're out of money, and Sandy's like, weren't you supposed to be managing the money?
Oh, yeah.
Or you are really bad at managing money. And he goes, yeah, I am.
I'm sorry. I did take more notes on this episode.
What did he think?
He blew through the entire budget, but was still planning on spending the weekend interviewing designers.
Yeah.
When all the money was gone.
And isn't the like opening coming up? Isn't that part of it? Like they're on
and
a time crunch.
Why
now?
would Sandy make Jimmy, like, I know that he was like the manager, but maybe managing the financials is not the best move for this man.
Maybe he should have been like the front of house manager when it's open, touching no money.
Can I just give 2 more notes?
Go.
One is agreeing with you on Jimmy. When he asked Julie, he was like, are you skimming off the top? And she was like, no, sweetie, that's you, or whatever. I was like, again, Julie is still, she's a predator.
Right.
So I hate to agree with her, but they gave her such good one-liners. Like,
really
they really did.
And she was looking good this episode.
She did look good. And I also made a note, Seth, I wanted to also murder this episode, because when they find out, he's like, I can't believe they're doing it in a motel. That's so cheap and tawdry. Like, that's what you're, and Ryan, to his credit, says like, yeah, that's the point, or like something sarcastic. But also Seth, when he's watching an episode of The Valley, he's upset that Summer likes this guy. This is immediately after they like talk to Luke, who is being abused, and like watching this show, and Ryan says something, he's like, shh, 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 I'm watching The Valley. I was like,
Oh my god.
he is so selfish. It's actually insane. Like, I know
Yeah.
teenagers are selfish, but he is like a crazy level.
Every episode, other people are going through real problems, and he is making it like about himself with his stupid little nonsense problems.
Always.
I'm starting to believe, like, from a plot perspective, that Seth's entire point in the series is to keep like a little bit of levity against Ryan's like tortured soul.
It can't be all dark.
It can't all be dark.
There has to be an annoying little flea.
Right. So like
in the-
when, you know,
corner.
because
But mommy.
Marissa and Ryan are like going through like real life traumas.
Yeah.
And then Seth and Summer are like, ah, like, a boy doesn't like me back, or my girlfriend isn't real.
Right, they had to be actual
seeing
teens
people.
about
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just Jimmy Cooper being a fucking whiny bitch this whole episode.
Most of my notes.
And he dragged Sandy down with him in this
Yes,
whiny
he does.
episode.
He
That's
really
really
did.
it. And Sandy also is going through some shit with this lawsuit. I mean, he had to
Yeah.
commit a little bit of a crime to, buy out. It was like the lumber supplier. He's like, you got to make this
They made a
person
deal.
made a deal. This has to be your new lumber supplier if you want to make this go away with Uncle Sean. And Sandy's not really into breaking the laws.
He's not.
and
He's an ethical person.
he's a moral baddie. Okay, he didn't want to do that, and he doesn't feel good about it, so he's pissed.
Yeah, it was, and you know what? The episode had a lot of fun. Some big things happened, but yeah, Marissa really, she just really can't get away.
No, I also made a note, the song when they're on the way to LA, how good it can be. I forget what the band is, but the one that's like do 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 do. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, I do.
Yeah, I
Wait,
loved
what's it
that.
called?
It's called How Good It Can Be, I think.
Okay.
Is the name of the song.
It's really funny. I didn't get it till the very end.
I loved that song. I'm glad you got there. And I also made a note, like when they're en route, Marissa's lip gloss was like peak early 2000s, like the shiny,
frosty.
like frosty. Yeah, and I was like, you know what, still bangs. Like,
You know what that was? That was a Juicy Tube for sure.
probably. Yeah, odds are very good.
Ugh, I loved those.
But it was like a little icier. Those were like more like wet. This one has like, yeah, like the frosty.
more glittery.
Yeah, we'll explore that.
Yeah, we'll look into what makeup products Marissa Cooper used.
Oh my gosh, I bet I could put together a pretty solid
She's probably
list.
using some Wet Seal at this point because she's still, under Jimmy's roof.
No, she has all her old stuff still. I think
true.
she's probably got some Chanel.
True.
Yep.
Kept all our purses.
All right, that is our OC recap, episodes 21 and 22. We're gonna keep going. We're close.
So many.
Yeah, we're. If you think we're close to the end, we've got like several more episodes until the
Right, like
season
10?
finale.
Is there like?
There's at
30?
least 4 more, I think.
Okay.
So,
I think so.
buckle up, folks.
That's crazy. We're almost in the season 1.
Yeah, we're almost done with season 1.
Okay.
So now we're going to talk about Feral Trash Night and our plans.
We have so many options. There's so much TV.
Yeah, we have been obviously enjoying Thousand Pound Sisters. We watched the episode last week where Amy gets bit by a camel.
Crazy.
And we had a lot of feelings. Yeah, and she gets arrested for child endangerment. It's a whole thing. So we are still watching Thousand Pound Sisters. We also watched some of the Sister Wives reunion.
It was too annoying. We turned it off.
It was horrible.
Yeah, same old shit from Cody.
I can't listen to Cody talk any longer.
It's the worst.
This storyline has been going for like 7 years.
There's nothing else. It's the same over and over. He's getting divorced. He's only with Robin. Now he's being gross about the way he talks about her. It's just gross.
Ew.
It's foul. We don't want to hear it. We don't
No.
care.
No, it's not worth the watch. But Thousand Pound Sisters absolutely is.
Oh, yeah.
And the day we're recording this, the Mormon Wives reunion dropped.
Yep.
So we've all watched all of seasons 1 and 2 now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we might have to make that happen too. Big night ahead.
Yeah.
So those are our plans for the evening. What are we eating?
I brought a salad.
Yeah, we know.
I personally really want Chinese food.
Oh, dude, I absolutely am on board with you on that.
Okay.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I need to get a new app because my card got stolen.
I will
multiple
do
times.
it. We'll do it
Okay.
right after this. Yeah, because I am ready to eat.
Yeah, my DoorDash. I'm pretty convinced my card has not been stolen since. It got stolen twice, and I had that app for a month. So beware.
Oh my gosh, that sucks.
Yeah, annoying. And
Oh.
it has been stolen again.
Alrighty, folks. Well, I'm gonna pass it off to Blaze.
Oh, great. My best segment.
You can do it.
You always make it work.
Oh boy, okay. You can find us at Something Feral FTN on Instagram, Something Feral Pod at Gmail, and on TikTok. And you can watch us on YouTube and Spotify.
Any place you find podcasts.
Literally anywhere. I'm not going to name them all because we don't got that time. But yeah, that's our show. Off to get feral. See you next week.
Hoy, 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 hoy,